Welcome everyone to the College Board released SAT practice test number 7. Today I will walk you through section 3, the no calculator math section. In the description I have marked timestamps for all 20 questions, so feel free to jump around and find where you are struggling for the answer explanation. So, without further ado, question number 1. The equation above relates the number of minutes x Maria spends running each day and the number of minutes y she spends biking each day. In the equation, what does the number 75 represent? So 75 is the addition of the number of minutes spent running and the number of minutes spent biking. So we can assume that 75 is the sum of those numbers, or the total minutes spent running and biking each day. So one is C. Number 2, which of the following is equivalent to 3 times x plus 5 minus 6? So 3 times x plus 5 minus 6, distribute the 3 to both terms. 3x plus 15 minus 6, 3x plus 9. So 2 is C. Number 3, which ordered pair xy satisfies the system of equations shown above? So we have x equals by itself, so we're going to do substitution. So we're going to substitute y minus 3 in for our second equation. So we have y minus 3 divided by 2, since that's where x was, plus 2y equals 6. So whenever I have a fraction, I'm going to multiply every term by the denominator of that fraction to get rid of it. So multiply every term in this equation by 2. So we get y minus 3 plus 4y equals 12. Y plus 4y is 5y. If I add 3 to both sides, that's 15. So dividing by 5, we get y equals 3. And the only choice that has 3 as the y value is B. Number 4, which of the following complex numbers is equal to 5 plus 12i minus 9i squared minus 6i? So write out what we have. And then I'm going to distribute the negative sign to both of the terms. So leaving me with 5 plus 12i minus 9i squared plus 6i. Since this negative, when I distribute, changes both signs of these terms inside here. And now they tell us that I equals the square root of negative 1. So if I equals the square root of negative 1, what if I squared both of those? Well, I'd get I squared equals square. So when you square root, those cancel, leaving you with whatever's inside. So I squared is negative 1, meaning whenever I have I squared as a term, you change the sign of that number. So this becomes 5 plus 12i plus a 9 plus 6i. So 5 plus 9 is 14, and 12i plus 6i is 18i. So 4 is D. Number 5, if f of x equals x squared minus 6x plus 3 divided by x minus 1, what is f of negative 1? So when this negative 1 appears to be substituted in for x, that means you substitute negative 1 for x of all the x terms in your equation. So f negative 1 equals negative 1 squared minus 6 times negative 1 plus 3 divided by negative 1 minus 1. So negative 1 squared is a positive 1, minus 6 times negative 1 is a plus 6 plus 3 divided by minus 1, which is a minus 2. So we have 1 plus 6 plus 3 is 10 divided by negative 2, or negative 5. Number 6, a company that makes wildlife videos purchases camera equipment for $32,400. The equipment depreciates in value at a constant rate for 12 years, after which it is considered to have no monetary value. How much is the camera equipment worth 4 years after it is purchased? So what we need to first do is figure out how much this depreciates every single year. And so to do that, we can divide 32,400 by 12. Because it depreciates in value at a constant rate for 12 years, after which it has no monetary value, so it drops down to 0 in 12 equal increments once every 12 years. So dividing 32,400 by 12, we get $2,700 depreciation per year. And now we need to figure out how much the camera equipment is worth 4 years after it's purchased. So we can figure out how much it depreciates in 4 years, which is 2,700 times 4, which is $10,800. And finally subtract that from our total, which is 21,600, or C. Number 7, which of the following is equivalent to the expression above? So what this question is testing is your ability to complete the square. And so to do that, we're going to write out what we have and then put our constant off to the side because it'll come in handy later. So whenever we always look at our first two terms, we're going to get rid of the square, so it's just x, take half of our b term, and also get rid of that x. So x plus 3, move the squared from the x to the outside, and then write what we have remaining. So now that we're here, we're going to square this last term, this 3, and we're going to add it to the other side of the equation to get us plus 9 on this side. Then we're going to simplify and see what we get. So we have x plus 3 squared. If we subtract 9 from both sides, we get m minus 5, leaving us with b. Ken is working this summer as part of a crew on a farm. He earned $8 per hour for the first 10 hours he worked this week. Because of his performance, his crew leader raised his salary to $10 per hour for the rest of the week. Ken saves 90% of his earnings from each week. What is the least number of hours he must work the rest of the week to save at least $270? So the question first tells us that he earns $8 per hour for the first 10 hours. So that's 8 times 10, so that's $80 that he earns in the first 10 hours. Then his salary is raised to $10 per hour, so plus 10 H, right? $10 per hour, and he saves 90% of his earnings from each week. So he saves all his salary, he saves 90% of it. So 0.9 times his salary for the week. And now the question asks, what is the least number of hours he must work the rest of the week to save at least $270? So he must work at least 270. So this is greater than or equal to 270. And now we solve. So divide everything by 0.9. And then we have 270 divided by 0.9. We can do a little trick. So there's a decimal point here and here. We can move the decimal place over on the divisor and then as well here, leaving us with 2,700 divided by 9, which is 300. So 80 plus 10H is greater than or equal to 300. Subtract 80 from both sides. 10H greater than or equal to 220. And then divide everything by 10. So H is greater than or equal to 22 hours. So what is the least number of hours you must work? C. Number 9, Marissa needs to hire at least 10 staff members for an upcoming project. The staff members will be made of junior directors who will be paid $640 per week and senior directors who will be paid $880 per week. Her budget for paying the staff members is no more than $9,700 per week. She must hire at least 3 junior directors and at least 1 senior director. Which of the following systems of inequalities represents the conditions described if X is the number of junior directors and Y is the number of senior directors? So first we need to figure out which is true. Greater than or equal to 9,700 or less than or equal to 9,700 as seen in the answer choices. So her budget is no more than, which means the 9,700 must be on the greater than side. So it's not A or C. And now the only difference between B and D is how the staff members are being allocated. And so we see that she must hire at least 3 senior directors and at least 1 senior director. 3 junior directors. So they're both at least. So X and Y must be greater than or equal to, so it is B. Number 10, in the equation above, A, B, C, and D are constants if the equation has roots -1, -3, and 5, which of the following is a factor? So factors are always written, like the choices show, as an x plus or an x minus something, right? And so the roots are when these are set equal to 0. So the roots, x equals -1, -3, and 5. But if we were to undo those and get our factors, that would be x plus 1, x plus 3, and x minus 5, since we're going backwards. And so we see we have 3 factors, and 10 is B. You simply reverse the signs to go from factors and roots. Number 11, the expression x to the -2 power times y to the 1/2 power divided by x to the 1/3 power times y to the -1 power, where x is greater than 1 and y is greater than 1, is equivalent to which of the following. So whenever you have a negative exponent, you change its position from the numerator or the denominator to the other, and you keep the value of the power, but you get rid of that negative sign once you move it. So for example, x to the -2 really belongs on the bottom, so it's y to the 1/2 divided by x squared times x to the 1/3 times y to the -1, and the y to the -1 belongs on the top, meaning y to the 1 times y to the 1/2 divided by x squared times x to the 1/3. Then it's a matter of, since they're multiplying the exponents, you add the powers. So this is y to the 3/2 divided by x to the 7/3. And now we simplify. So this is written as y cubed, and then the square root of y cubed, over the cube root of x to the 7th. So since it's a square root for the y, we have y times y times y. Since it's a square root, we're going to circle the number of pairs. So there's 1 pair. So the square root of y cubed simplifies to y, since there's 1 y pair. And then since there was an unpaired y, that stays on the inside. Same thing for the x. We have 7 x's, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It's a cube root, so we're going to circle the triplet pairs. There were 2 triplets, so that is x squared times the cube root of 1x. So it is D. Number 12, the function f is defined by f of x equals x plus 3 times x plus 1. The graph of f in the xy plane is a parabola. Which of the following intervals contains the x-coordinate of the vertex of the graph? So they give us a factored form of this quadratic, so we're going to FOIL it out. So f of x equals x times x, which is x squared, x times 1, which is plus x times 3, which is plus 3x, and then 3 times 1 is plus 3. Add like terms, x squared plus 4x plus 3, and then to find the x-coordinate of a vertex, you use the formula -b over 2a, so that's -4 over 2 times 1, since there's nothing in front of the x squared except for a 1, which is -2. And the only interval that contains this -2 is B. Number 13, which of the following expressions is equivalent to x squared minus 2x minus 5 divided by x minus 3? So this is a function long division, so we have x squared minus 2x minus 5 divided by x minus 3. So how many times can x go into x squared? Well, that is 1 time, so that's going to be x. And then we multiply our x times x minus 3. That's x squared minus 3x. Subtract. We get negative 2x minus negative 3x, which is x. Bring down our 5. How many times can x go into x minus 5? That's 1 time, giving us x minus 3. Subtracting negative 5 minus negative 3, or a negative 2, which is our remainder, leaving 13 to be D. Since 2 is the remainder, it's on top. It's x plus 1 minus the remainder divided by whatever's out in front, so x minus 3. Number 14, a shipping service restricts the dimensions of the boxes it will ship for a certain type of service. The restriction states that for boxes shaped like rectangular prisms, the sum of the perimeter of the base of the box and the height of the box cannot exceed 130 inches. The perimeter of the base is determined using the width and length of the box. If a box has a height of 60 inches and its length is 2.5 times the width, which inequality shows the allowable width x in inches of the box. So we can quickly draw out a box to try to see what they're saying. So the restriction is that the sum of the perimeter of the base of the box and the height cannot exceed 130 inches. So the base is a rectangle, which means that the perimeter is the 2 widths plus the 2 lengths. So 2 times 2 widths plus 2 lengths plus the height cannot exceed, so is less than or equal to 130 inches. Then it says if the box has a height of 60 inches, so we can substitute h for 60, and then its length is 2.5 times its width. So we have length equaling 2.5 times width. So 2w plus 2 times 2.5w plus 60 is less than or equal to 130. So we can begin solving. So we have minus 60 for both sides. And then that leaves us with 2w plus 2l less than, or sorry, not 2l, 2 times 2.5w less than or equal to 70. Multiply this out, so 2w plus 5w less than or equal to 70. That is 7w less than or equal to 70. Divide everything by 7, we get w is less than or equal to 10, which is A. That's the only interval that works. Number 15, the expression 1/3 x squared minus 2 can be rewritten as 1/3 times x minus k times x plus k, where k is a positive constant. What is the value of k? So we can recognize a difference of squares factoring, because x minus something times x plus something looks very similar to our difference of squares. For example, a squared minus b squared would be factored as a plus b times a minus b. So that's what happened here. Each term is divided by 1/3 because there's 1/3 on the outside. So we can divide our expression by 1/3 each term. So 1/3 divided by 1/3 is simply going to be 1. So that's a 1/3 times x. And now minus 2, so 2 divided by 1/3, or 2 times 3, because of keep, switch, flip, is 6. So 1/3 times x minus 6, and then as with a squared minus b squared, with our difference of squares, that's 1/3 times, that's x squared, that's going to be x minus radical 6 times x plus radical 6, because it's the square root of both of those terms, x squared and 6. So k is d. Number 16, if 2x plus 8 equals 16, what is the value of x plus 4? So 2x plus 8 equals 16, minus 8 from both sides, 2x equals 8, so x is 4 once you divide both sides by 2. And then plugging in 4 for x plus 4, that's 4 plus 4, which equals 8. Number 17, in the figure above, MQ and NR intersect at point P. NP equals QP, so I can write those dashes, they're equal. And NP equals PR, so MP equals PR. What is the measure in degrees of QMR? So we want this angle right here. We'll call this x degrees. So now I need to figure out what QMR is, and to do that, we're going to piece together all of the angles of this triangle. So the sum of interior angles of a triangle is 180. So we can see that for triangle PQR, one angle measure is 70, one is 60, so the other one, R here, must be 50 to make that triangle. And then we know that since angle Q is 70 degrees and it makes side PR, because it's opposite from that side, that N, since opposite of its angles also MP, which equals PR, that N must have degree measure of 70 degrees. And the same argument holds for angle M. It is also 50 degrees because it's opposite side NP, which is equal to PQ, which is opposite angle R. Because same side lengths means same angle measure, which means that this angle right here must also be 60. So we have two equal triangles on the sides. And so now we see that there is a circle of angles right here, which must add up to 360. So 360 minus the two 60s from those P angles is 240. They're vertical angles right here, so divide that by 2, leaving 120 for this angle. And because triangle MPR is isosceles, because it has two equal side lengths, that's going to be 180 minus 120, which is 60, divided by 2. So angle M here is 30 degrees. And so is this other angle R. Number 18, the number of radians in a 720 degree angle can be rewritten as A pi, where A is a constant. What is the value of A? So, as a rule of thumb, 360 degrees equals 2 pi, and so 720 is just 2 times 360, or just 2 times 2 pi, or 4 pi, so A is 4. Number 19, the graph of a line in the xy plane passes through the point 1, 4 and crosses the x-axis at the point 2, 0. The line crosses the y-axis at the point 0, b. What is the value of b? So we can find our slope by writing out our 2 points, labeling them x1, y1, x2, y2. Now they're labeled. Slope formula is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So y2 minus y1 is 0 minus 4 divided by 2 minus 1. So this is negative 4 divided by 1, or negative 4 slope. Now we can use our point slope form. Y minus y1 equals slope times x minus x1. So y minus y1, we can use either the 1, 4 point or the 2, 0 point. I'm going to use the 2, 0 point because it's easier. So y minus 0 is just 0. So y equals the slope, negative 4, times x minus 2. And then we have our equation for our line. Now we just plug in 0 to solve for b. So y equals -4 times 0 minus 2, y equals -4 times -2, or a positive 8. So 8 is 19. And finally, question number 20. The equation above can be written in the form ay squared plus b, where a and b are constants. What is the value of a plus b? So let's distribute this 10 to both terms and then add all of our like terms. 7,532 plus 100y squared plus 100y squared minus 1,100, because the 10 is multiplied by both of those terms. Combine like terms, so we have 200y squared. We can see that a is 200 because it's next to the y squared term. And then 7,532 minus 1,100 is going to be positive 6,432. We have to add a plus b, and b is our constant. A is the 200, so that's 200 plus 6,432, or 6,632. So thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions, leave a question in the comment. If you liked the video, drop a like, and if you really enjoyed the content and you want to see more, subscribe. I'll be uploading more of these videos in the coming weeks. And so thank you so much for watching.